they're going to have to really battle to their strengths in their own rights, especially with 2 members from their main roster missing for this week 1 matchup. But here we go. We got the fly-in ready. Skyline, it's beautiful and it's bloody, and I am ready to strap in for this ride.
I am so excited to be alongside you for the ride here, Seymour, for our first map of the CCL season. Hardpoint couldn't start anywhere else, but this P1 on Jacuzzi is going to get hot and heated between these 2 teams.
It is. I think for both of them, I'm going to be looking at these SMGs to take the stage. I think for Seneca, I'm curious who's going to be running those Jackals, as you got 3 players who have that flex potential to switch from the aims into the Jackals. So who's going to be the one to really step up? Well, we got Mojo on screen, as it looks like the names are flipped around towards the top. Seneca starting from the less preferred side for that P2 rotation, but not going to be able to flip those spawns early on, and is going to have to look to P1 to see if he can get some time off of this.
Yeah, a little bit of time there for RIT Esports on the first hard point, but not able to really lock it down as well as they would want to. Pretty evened out between both these teams and works out in the favor of Seneca.
It's a faded crown. 17 seconds. Looks like you want to take one last hit. I mean, it's Skyline after all. No reason not to give up that scrap time. But Seneca going to be in for the, or sorry, RIT going to be in for the rotation towards P2. Nando finding a huge kill onto Manny. Early time for Seneca, but through the elevator, it's going to be, it's ready to hop in towards this hill. 3 down for Seneca, and it looks like it is going to be some good time coming out from themselves.
Yeah, RIT looking pretty confident with how they have the points racking up on this first hard point. Haven't really had to worry too much. An easy transition on boards towards the next one as well. And Seneca, I mean, as we get the name swap, they've been kind of struggling to push into these hard points. We finally get some action from Nando this time, and need to see what they can do to lead their team for this hard point. And if they could have stayed on there a little bit longer, might have been a way to try and come back.
Faded Crown's going to pop off a quick 2 for RIT, as is Manny to finish off for that last one. Manny on the rotation too. He's on 3 in a row, 7 and 3. I was excited to see why they elevated him from D2 into D1, and so far so good on Skyline. RIT are looking sharp.
Yeah, right towards the kitchen area, trying to see if they can lock it down for Nando towards this P3 early on. And already we do see most of the players from RIT just surrounding that section, quickly taking it away, even with some trades coming back and forth. And still Seneca trying desperately to push onto this third hard point, but no success.
Success, as it's been nothing but orange in the feed for the most part. Faded Crown slides out. He's shut down. A trade for Seneca looking to get into this hard point, but it's been no success, like you said. You still got 32 seconds that you're happy to soak up if you're the Tiger. Is ready now, looking to rip those spawns out from behind. And alongside Manny, they're going to make that happen. The flip comes through. RIT now with the better spawns for that P4 rotation, and they are cruising right now.
Oh man, Seneca couldn't even push onto the last few seconds, and they can't even hold on to Kitchen for a moment. Finally, they do get little smidgens of this hard point for the last 10 seconds, and well, RIT are gladly going to give that to them to lock things down towards the bathrooms for this P4, and this is exactly where they want to position themselves with the lead that they have gathered. So far, it seems like it's becoming insurmountable.
Yeah, I mean, they crossed that 100-point threshold, and you can just see that kill feed just continues to light up orange, and Seneca are going to be spawning up all the way back towards that piano side of the map. Ready through mid. Aims in hand. I mean, this is not going to be easy to cross without taking care of it. So it's a heads-up play from ARAM to remove that player from RIT from that forward position. And Petrovi going to win a big one into the back. That should pull spawns for Seneca. They're going to get into this hard point. And there's 30 seconds that you'd love to grab here. Could close this lead quite a bit. But you got to fight from the inside out. You got to win these fights just to hold on. Manny taking one last shot here, and it looks like with the help of Bob, they're going to break back in.
You mentioned earlier that Manny, we need to keep an eye out for them leveling up with this RIT roster from Div 2 to Div 1, and they are making a name for themselves as best they can. 12 and 6, well now 13 and 6, just dropping down and putting the business on the other team. Exactly what we need to see from RIT to keep this lead as strong as they've had it for the majority of this game.
And heading into the second set, Vaudeville 132 to 44. Seneca is going to be in first, and a good set there. It's 4 down. RIT going to be spawning deep towards the back of Helipad. And it looks like they're going to look to set up for a little bit of a default break. 1 through top catwalk, 2 through piano, and Ready trying to work through kitchen. Everybody set up for the break. Manny finds the first one. Ready in position through kitchen. ARAM can be enough for the break. Finds two. Won't get the read on Manny. And RIT fighting for every second of this hill from the less preferred side.
Nice comeback that we're seeing so far from Seneca. RIT really haven't found an answer. Some good contests, and finally they do manage to push on to that hard point for the last 12 seconds. They will gladly take anything that they can get the scraps from this one, but they actually get taken off of it. Instead, it's going to transition towards that P2, and quickly every player on the map converging into the lounge area, making sure that they can stake their claim for P2.
No spawns just yet. Petrovi in behind. Nice read from Faded Crown. And he's going to pop off a quick two inside that hill. 3 down for Seneca. Last one is going to be ARAM as he's cleaned up. RIT in position to push this lead even further. It's just the beginning for this P2 hold. Players from the front. Bob's going to look to take care of that. Jackal in hand. 23 and 14 makes it 24. Mojo's going to trade out, but it might be too little too late as the rest of RIT stacking up this point.
Already over 100-point difference between RIT and Seneca. I mean, Seneca looking at the strategy from them so far, just bull rushing into these points, seeing what they can do from there, but not really much survivability afterwards. No second alternate plan and route for them to go into these hard points. And yes, they are quickly moving on to the next one, but they have not been able to hold it down long enough. Every time we see RIT Esports push in, especially Bob with the way that they're performing, they haven't been able to hold up long enough.
I feel like they haven't been able to hold at all at this point. This is another set of kills for the Tigers. Bob's going to hop this time, and you can see the spawns flip immediately for this P3 rotation. Games are set up on these power angles, but it's some nice shots from Petrovi and ARAMs to remove him from that hill. Nando now, can you find the next one? No, shutdown, struggling at 10 and 26. And his numbers you just don't like to see from the subs of Seneca, but a team nade from It's Ready onto Faded Crown is going to give an avenue in for Seneca to stack this hill once again, but they line up for Manny. And it's just devastation again and again from Seneca. RIT are having their way.
And this might be all the way to the bank to cash the check for map number 1 if RIT Esports keep this up, especially with the way that Manny is performing on a 4-kill streak currently. Looking for a lockdown in the bathrooms to see if they can take down Seneca before they can even push in. Already winning the 1v1, waiting for anyone else to back them up, and finally some of their teammates get pushed position in so that they can hold it down, but they do get taken out. It does help out Seneca there.
It's just been such a good game, I'd say, from Seneca, at least finding these early kills into the hill, keeping RIT uncontested, but not able to win the secondary battles. So with the better spawns, with Ready in the back, just locking down the respawns for the team, they're able to re-hit this one, restack, and you have the full set up, but that setup's just not good enough. It's another set from Mojo, 3 down for RIT, and the spawns are going to flip out for now.
Move from Mojo to let one of the players from RIT push back as much as they could, and Manny does have some room to work with, but the time that's remaining on this one, Seneca regaining a lot of necessary points to keep them in this game, but so close is RIT Esports to closing out this first map. They need to lock down this P1 yet again, and already RIT have their claws latched into it.
Yeah, only 23 seconds, so with those spawns so deep towards P4, you have to look towards Petrovi up top to win this battle. 5 HP Ready, sneaking away with that. Manny's going to be set up on a position that it's not going to be able to dethrone him. Jackal in the back pocket. He's ready to tango and see if he can put this dagger in. 6 seconds left. Can anybody get here to touch? The Overwatch is fantastic. Nando goes down. And that's going to be it for Skyline. RIT kicking off the 2025 season with a win.
What beautiful positioning that we saw from RIT on that map. There was nothing that Seneca could do every single time. Manny, of course, stepping up big for this team, but Bob, of course, locking things down from above with that Overwatch that we were talking about as well. So, I mean, some good looks from these players on both sides of the field, but again, this seemed to be a completely different story for Seneca. They have a wake-up call that was awaiting them into this first map for their intro series to CCL, and well, now they know what the big boys are that they have to take down.
And I mean, I want to take this with a grain of salt, Vaudable, because this isn't the full, I'd say, roster, the main roster for Seneca, and you can definitely see that there was a little bit of a detachment in terms of setups for those hills. The kills were there. They were breaking those hard points. They just could never lock down those back spawns. You never really saw them actually stay in the hill for more than, 10, 15 seconds at a time. And I don't want to discredit them when it came down to the slaying. I think that there were plenty of times where you actually saw them find 3 down and have a chance to get that set up in the hill, but it definitely seemed like the coordination wasn't fully there for a mode and a map that you really need that to happen in. So we're taking a look at the breakdown of what we saw, and it is going to be a lot of stocks for RIT. I mean, from start to finish, it was just nothing but dominance, and it's really behind the success of their subline between Faded Crown and Manny, including sometimes I'd say Reddy even pulling out that Jackal to help out and assist with that pace of play. But Seneca finishing 106, that one is going to sting.
It is going to sting. It did look nice, though, when we did see that final P3 from them into the P4. They were able to get a decent amount of regain back, but it was too little too late against RIT Esports. And because it took them so long to finally get some footholds on the hard points themselves, they really didn't have a strategy on, okay, how do we take this monumental comeback and make it go the distance for us to overcome the massive lead that we saw from RIT Esports. I feel like a lot of that had to come down to Nando really seemed to be the main one holding down the hill time for Seneca. We saw multiple players on RIT Esports prioritizing it. Faded Crown and Manny, to note, specifically having over a minute themselves, but Manny seemed to be the mainstay on those hills. That was the difference maker there.
They definitely had a really good system to plug and play players into the objective, but the hard point is done, and that's going to be the search and destroy up next. We're heading to Hacienda, and for Seneca, this could be an easy way back into the series. And we were talking about in particular the fact that, Seneca, there were times where they were breaking those hills. They just couldn't get the proper setup. And now for search and destroy, you don't have to worry about the setup. You're looking for those default breaks. You win your gunfights. And in a game like Black Ops 6, where that aggression and those early kills really pay off, we could definitely see Seneca find a little bit of stability here in a slower game mode.
And the ones I'm kind of looking out for are ARAM and Mojo potentially on Seneca's side, especially with the amount of slaying we saw from them specifically. But I feel like anyone on RIT has potential to pop off in it, search and destroy. So really curious on who's going to be the star of the show there. Maybe Bob, with the way that they were performing themselves. They also assisted a lot of the kills that we saw, 12 of them at that for their team, and got a lot of good finishes for their teams. Not many traded kills as well for the entire team, which definitely helped out a lot in it. Their hardpoint mainstays there. But looking at this Hacienda map, I mean, again, we talked about it earlier on. RIT, they love Hacienda, they love Protocol, and they have them back to back to back. So I don't know what Seneca have to do to come back in this one when they're playing unfavorable maps, unless this is their like secret pick that this is going to be a benefit for them.
I mean, fortunately, it's Hacienda, and I mean, this is a map that's been around for a long time in Call of Duty. So I hope for these Seneca players, I mean, especially when you look towards, somebody like ARAM, who has, even that experience outside of playing in collegiate, when we've seen him in the TXPs here in Canada, Mojo, who played on Western years previous, and, Petrovi, who's been around the COD scene for a very long time. It's not like these are players who are new to playing Call of Duty. I mean, they've been around the block and some. So heading towards this Hacienda, there is going to be some comfort going towards this map, especially since search and destroy, you don't have that extra tax in terms of objective play, worrying about the respawns and trying to manipulate those spawns to better prioritize, your team inside the hill. And I think that's going to take a lot of weight off the shoulders of these Seneca players, just to kind of have some fun with it. Fly, take these early challenges, and trust that you have the ability and the skill to win those challenges. And I think that's what I want to see from the Seneca team. There is quite literally nothing that they could lose here, not housing their full main roster for this matchup. I'm sure that this is not a team that they practice with every single day of the week. So it is going to struggle when you see these subs come in for certain teams.
So shout out to production for these flyovers that we're seeing for these maps. Love it. Just seeing the scenery for every single one. But really curious on what the Seneca strategy is going to be here. Looking at their side of things, going towards that B bomb site. And I'd say a solid strategy, especially with the way that the other team's actually just completely flanking around the other area towards mid. And this works out well in their favor.
Well, Reddy's in open. You have a full flank coming out from that P2 Lambo. And I don't think Seneca's going to be ready for it. No, Nando's going to be shot behind. Bob, you just can't win that. 50 HP slides out, and Dex Petrovia, the team, follows up with it. Oh, wow. Bob just gave him the business.
Blink and you miss it, but as you mentioned, we see Bob come in with this flank through, and there's nothing that ARAM can do to stay alive in those dying moments. The rest of their team fell like dominoes, and then the entire team just collapsed at the seams.
And for Seneca, I didn't mind that whatsoever. The early hit towards B. I mean, you get control of Rock. If you had somebody watching that flank and you get that good timing onto that RIT player, you will have a good setup to it. It's not an easy site to break once that bomb goes down, but just losing those initial gunfights, you allow RIT into the domain, and I mean, you know what happens when you play in a Tiger cage. You're going to get cut there. Manny, for some early fights there. It's two to break off for RIT. Seneca battle back, but it's not good enough. RIT with a quick round to bring things to 2.
I thought there might be a chance for Seneca to try and push the issue themselves, but who else but Bob yet again finishing things here for their team with a flank around, just waiting for the team on the other end to not be suspecting where they're positioning and then taking them down and doing the business where it is necessary for their roster. So rough for Seneca here. RIT Esports, though, in the driver's seat. It feels like first search destroy already.
And how do you stop this? I mean, you go to A, you have to worry about that top secret control, and it doesn't seem like Seneca really feeling good for those early breakoffs and those fast, aggressive angles that RIT are going for. RIT going to go for a full counter to that B hit. All 4 members here. Mojo set up towards B2. Aims in hand. Best gun for the job, and he gets 2. Already going above and beyond, but now if you stay alive, Mojo, I mean, you're just wasting time.
Wise from Mojo, I'd say. Dip out when they need to. Getting a 3-piece for their team. Maybe the entire squad. I don't know if they got credited with it. We'll see in the kill cam there specifically, but either way, what matters most is Seneca bounces back in this 3rd round, and it was all Mojo all the way.
And that's what I like to see from one of the veterans here at Seneca, coming from Western, playing not just 1 season, but 2 in Vanguard and MW2. You know that Mojo is a player that you turn to make those big plays when they matter. And when you're set up on a power angle like that towards P2, a heady that is not easy to fight, especially when you're bull rushing that side of the map. I mean, it was open season to get that ace.
And what was rough too, because like every member of RIT just took their time to go towards the firing line that we saw from Mojo. So they were just getting mowed down every single time. Red light, green light didn't quite work out in their favor that time. Either way, though, Faded Crown got to see what they could do to stay alive in this scenario and maybe get a better angle for this.
This isn't the Squid Games game mode. This is the Search and Destroy game mode. As you are going to get shot. Well, the music's going. Nando finding that 3rd kill. It's going to put Manny in a 1v3. Mojo up top gets the information, and I don't think Manny actually spotted that. So Seneca looking to play together. Nando furthers this information, and you can see the adjustments coming out from Seneca to look to even this up. We go 2-2, and they stabilize.
Okay, nice to see from Seneca. Clinical that we are witnessing from them. Took a little bit to adjust after those first few rounds, but now they seem to know a bit more of the pathing that we've been witnessing from RIT. Better positioning from Seneca as a whole, and they've been staying alive for the most part a lot longer than we saw in those first 2.
Yeah, so, I mean, for RIT, you started off so good with the sheer aggression that you've seen, but you've allowed Seneca back into your house, and it doesn't seem like they're ready to leave quite yet. 5 in a row for Mojo, 6-2. Playing towards, sure, I want to say that Hellstorm, but it doesn't even look like he has the Hellstorm equipped. No, okay, he does. It's just going to take a little bit to get there, so.
Yeah.
Tough angle for Mojo. Wallbangs come through. 13 HP, barely alive. No first blood on either side just yet. Realistically, if you want to keep battling this, there's no reason for RIT to move. Now, Bob up top, ready.
Wow.
Gonna take down Nando. Slowly bleeding out Seneca. Faded Crown up close and personal. Almost with the 180, but the rest of the team's gonna close out on that round, and RIT gonna bounce back after losing 2.
We basically saw like a bait and switch. We saw Faded Ground on the ground, just baiting out the entire team, then the overwatch from the rest of his teammates from above, and that was a great positioning from their team, dissecting them yet again. Thought they might be able to get away, but there was no chance to escape once they were locked on from RIT.
So now we got ourselves a little bit of a tug of war. You go 2 for 2. RIT answer back. And it's Seneca's turn on defense to see if they can put a stop to this one. Keep this game tied at 3 apiece. As you can see, it's going to be a triple stack towards the bottom side of that mini-map. Solo playing B is Petrovi. And it looks like he's going to have a lot of work to do. Caught with the nade, and you're happy there if you're RIT. Bomb site is wide open to plant.
That's so unfortunate. Just mistimed when they were using the nade. Didn't expect them to be so close to them. Already seeing ARAM down too, so only a couple players remaining for them. And Nando, see if they can save the day for now, but no, they're gonna get headshot instead. RIT Esports quickly turn things back in their favor after dropping those first 2.
And like I said, that is a tough bomb site to retake, especially after that post plant is secured, because you can see that the player towards Lambo just has to sit and wait for the slide shell, and you have your other player in office with the height to watch that bomb. So fighting 2 aims on power positions, and you have a Jackal. That is not a fun day in Black Ops 6, but if for RIT, they're going to buff things out back into a 2-round lead. And Seneca going to see if they can pull off 2 rounds in a row like they did in the past to answer back.
That was the first goal we've seen from Bob since the initial round. So nice that they've been able to kind of bounce back and finish things off for that RIT team. Oh, we finally see a bomb plant? Okay.
Bomb goes down, and Mojo's only going to find one there. Would have liked to find both players flanking. Big win for Petrovi. Takes a player to secret, but he's hunted down by Bob. All down to ARAM, and he has the element of surprise, as well as the objective. Play with early shots. ARAM, can he lock down this kill? Finds a second low HP.
Oh my goodness.
ARAM makes the play. Snapping from both players just to put it away. This is not something that everybody can do, but it is such good prioritization to read that the chow's coming in from the second player and then finishing off the other.
Heard the footsteps from the right, turned perfectly on the dime to take them down, and just waited for the doomsday that was on the doorstep of RIT afterwards. What a play by ARAM to get them back in this search and destroy map on Hacienda. And my goodness, that was clean.
It was. I mean, you need that if you're Seneca. A hero moment, 1v2 for ARAM. And like I said, he had that element of surprise. So playing off that Jackal Mojo, 9 and 5, having himself a game here in Hacienda, trying to will his team to victory. Bomb is down, recovered now, and Nando's going to get caught for the trade. That's going to equalize, and some good information. Ready, will you read this flank? He's got the Jackal, but Petrovi keeping numbers for Seneca.
I don't think Petrovi noticed that the bomb went down there either. They just immediately ran away, knew that they didn't have much health remaining, and unfortunately just did not work well enough for them to stay alive. So 2-on-2 situation, bomb still in hand, and plenty of time to work with, but B-site is covered. They don't know exactly where they're at, and they get taken down. One, but not the second.
Jumps the gun, but now it's Mojo, who's been playing fantastic here. Goes for the early chow, but flies at him with no early damage. That is an overheat if I've ever seen it, Mojo. You had no business flying at that one.
No, the nade comes out. Shots go through. I think it's just momentum. Knew that the nade was just going to be a terrible positioning for them to try and disengage backwards where they were already headed forward, and there was no chance for them to turn around. They already reacted, and it was too late, deer in headlight style, as they just got taken out.
That's some ice from RIT. That's going to put them on map point now, looking to go up 2-0 in the series. Seneca, it was a chance to equalize, but now you're looking down the barrel of an 0-2 gap. Back to A we go. It's a read from RIT that is the wrong site. Triple stack over towards B. It's Bob trying to watch towards the outer fences, but Manny's still with a big win through mid onto Mojo.
Very curious what ARAM's going to be able to do here, too. You do see the flank coming in from both angles. Bob might have a chance if he waits things out perfectly ready, just looking to see if anyone's going to poke their head out whatsoever. But Aram just patiently waiting, and no, they aren't patient enough. They get taken down, and some trades happen back and forth, but it's only Petrovi remaining. Well, not
Pistols
anymore.
out and not able to get past Bob. 1v3 not on the table for Petrovi, and RIT gonna punch their ticket to a 2-0 lead here in our first series of the day, making it look good on Hacienda and really icing up when it matters.
I mean, Bob really stepped up towards the end there too. Faded Crown, we saw some good work from there, but I mean, if we had an MVP on the losing side, it was definitely Nando. The way that they performed for the majority of it was great. Not Nando, excuse me, Mojo, who was 9-5 at one point. But apart from that, in those last 2 rounds, they weren't as effective as we could have seen it from them. So unfortunate for Mojo that they lost their mojo towards the end and couldn't really do too much afterwards. But decent strategies when it came to the bomb plants. They just didn't really have anything to sustain themselves afterwards because they were just taken apart by RIT.
Yeah, it would be a totally different story if Mojo actually stood his ground and won that 1v1 back in round number 8. But for RIT, I mean, if you're going to give them that time of day to take those battles, I mean, you can't really expect them to lose when they've just looked so good back on that Skyline Hardpoint, dominating in terms of those slaying. You cannot just expect this team to roll over and die in those rounds. And I think Mojo just bit off a little bit more than he could chew, gave up a round that he didn't really want to. And it's going to, again, just feel a little bit tough for Seneca and Seneca fans who are really looking forward to their debut in the CCL. We look back at the breakdown. It was 9 total rounds. And 8 of them coming to eliminations. The last one for the defuse did end up, it was a 1 versus 4 for Petrovi, and a tough look for a lot of those rounds when it came down to First Bloods winning it. It was majority of them except for that round number 8.
Worked out really well for RIT Esports. We finally saw a little bit at the beginning in that round 3 from Mojo when he got the 4K just to clean things up for their team and turn things around for a moment. I thought, oh, after they got the 2 rounds, maybe this is where they're going to get the momentum going in their favor. But RIT buckled down when it mattered, made better decisions when it came to checking corners and timing wise for their flanks as well. And there just didn't seem to be the best luck as well when it was time to move out of position for Nando, especially in that last round.
And now you're facing kind of a tough situation if you're Seneca Polytechnic heading into this map number 3. We're going to the protocol control, and that hard point was nowhere close to being close for yourself. So as we headed towards a break, getting things set up for this map number 3, there's a lot to talk about on their side of the field. But for RIT Esports, it is nothing but flying colors for them, and they look great. They are passing so far in our first game of CCL 2025. We're going to take a quick break here on the desk, and when we come back, protocol control, folks, you don't want to miss it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Northeast Great Lakes Division as we're looking at RIT Esports taking off Seneca Polytechnic to kick off the CCL 2025 season. RIT having their way so far, Vaudeville 2-0 up after taking both the hard point in a very emphatic fashion, 250 to 106, and then to search and destroy 6-3. We can take a look at the maps at where we are going up next, just for a recap on everything. And you can see it there, the scores, but protocol up next, and if Seneca Polytechnic want to turn things around, it's got to be a reverse sweep now.
It has to be, and this is a decent map to try it on, but I feel like a lot of this comes down to the gunfighting for the most part, and what we've seen so far is that RIT has outslayed the team of Seneca every single time. We saw it on the hardpoint, we saw it on the search and destroy for the most part, apart from when Mojo was just popping off. But instead, with the limited lives and the capture points, the objective based style of this game mode as well, again, benefits RIT. So you got to be thinking what's going on in the camp of Seneca, how they come back from this.
And I mean, protocol just being such a spawn trappable map.
Yes.
If Seneca kicks things off with an offensive round 1, then you have to face RIT looking to spawn trap you not just once but twice in the first 3 rounds of this. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Seneca as we're getting things loaded up for this map number 3, hoping to see if they can turn things around. But like you said, it's going to come down to the slaying, especially if you're starting off with that offense. First and foremost, you have to make sure you're working out of your spawn effectively, taking those power positions in towards top triple, having somebody to maintain some space to keep RIT on the back foot and limit to how much damage they can do if they do break into your spawn.
We'll have to see who is going to take advantage of those spawn traps as quickly as we get into this game already. Shots coming forward. First hard point, or first cat control point, excuse me, being contested early. Faded Crown not going to give them any time to stay alive on it.
Oh, and he is just happy to contest. Faded Crown for 2 off the break. Petrovi sitting on those heli steps. It's his turn now, but it's 1 by 1. They're lining up. Faded Crown taking these individual battles, sending Seneca back to the respawns, and now it's time to see if they can put the pedal to the metal and do some extra damage to these players. Faded Crown 4 in a row. Finally put down. Nando going to win that out, and Seneca can work out of their spawn.
Mojo and Nando definitely the ones to look out for on the slaying side of things for Seneca Polytechnic. But RT Esports, I mean, we saw a lot of good stuff from Faded Crown earlier on. Manny and Bob really haven't been able to be as effective in that fashion, so trying to see what they can do specifically for their team. Most of the kills going in the favor already of RIT.
Yeah, Manny's just looking to be that annoying SMG who is running around the map, finding those routes, getting in behind, and most likely shooting you from behind. So you can see it there.
Oh,
he closes the door. Mojo, surprise, surprise. It's 3 in a row for Manny, 4 in a row for Bob, and back into the spawn trap you go as you're spawning towards the heli side. You're going to have to turn things around, back up, and see if you can slay out once more. But Bob is in behind, and he is deep going to be spawning Seneca Polytechnic forward, and you can see that overextension is going to leave RIT at a lesser disadvantage with Faded Crown going down there. Bob's going to have to turn things back towards that A side of the map. He's on 5 now with aims in hand, looking for number 6. Mojo wins it out. With 16 seconds left, it is do or die for Seneca now. They have to worry about the objectives.
It's like we're playing domination at this point. They can't do anything to get out of their spawn. All points captured by the other team. Hypothetically, but even then, the way that we see RIT Esports just shutting things down so that we can't even get that third tick from that A control point from Seneca. They've just been stuck in their spawn the entire time. Manny's been putting in some good work for their team, some good streaks with Bob, and then time just runs out. RIT Esports win that first bout. Very clinically, nothing to really worry about on their side.
No, but I think for Seneca, you can kind of look at this map and understand that offense on protocol is not the easiest thing to make happen, especially when you have, you know, somebody like Bob who is slaying out in your spawn, or Manny who just continuously is shooting you from behind. So getting 2 segments is, all things considered, not terrible for that first offensive round. And we did see that Seneca throughout that hard point, they were getting better and better in terms of slaying as the game went on. So hoping to see they can mirror that now heading into this control. So swapping to the defensive side now, Seneca, they want to kind of look to spawn trap them in their own rights, and we can kind of look towards those SMG players in Nando and Aram to see if they can make that happen. Aram with actually the aims out coming out is going to take down Manny. He finds 2 over towards B. It's going to be B for the first bout for RIT. They hop on, they stop this time, and are working on that first tick.
First tick about to be captured here if they can hold it down as best as they can, and eventually able to get it. Good progress at that B control point, and not really much contesting that we're seeing from Seneca. Really taking their time to try and position and sniff out where we are seeing these players from RIT Esports lock things down from above. And Bob just really uncontested, slaying out right now. 5 kill streak and unstoppable, it feels like, from that Overwatch position.
This is what I was worried about. You let Bob into top triple, and he's human turret, basically, with the aims in hand. 10 and 2. 6 in a row, make it 11 and 2. As B has 2 segments, A has 1 segment, second one being worked on. Bob just making sure that nobody can contest these zones at full HP. So he's going to pop out again, just shooting Nando in the back. 2 go down once more. Faded Crown looking to get aggressive with the Jackal, taking down the last 2. And back on towards A and B now. RIT, they're looking to put this one away. Third take should be a lock here. And a transition that you have to rush to if you're Seneca, but I'm not sure they're going to get here in time. Nobody's going to contest it. It is clinical from RIT on their attack.
Bob was unstoppable in that second round of control here for Protocol.
I feel like he didn't move.
He didn't at all. Nobody contested him. Every time they kept spawning, they didn't really have enough chances to flank around and were more focused on trying to take down the attacking players on that B control point. And well, apart from that, they really didn't focus too much on A, and that let it be wide open for another player on the RIT Esports team to play the objective and lock that one down almost towards the third tick so they could quickly get that second round. And what a bounce back Seneca need if they can even get anything in this third round of control.
9 in a row, and he doesn't even have a Hellstorm. That is insane. Insane. So, a couple shots coming up from Bob and Seneca. This is your last chance in the series. You have to reverse sweep the control and then reverse sweep the entire best of 5. And now Bob has that Hellstorm. So 10 in a row, ready now into the spawn. It looks like he has been spotted. So Trovy's going to hunt that player down. But again, you look to the rest of the map and it's just non-stop wins for RIT in terms of the slaying. They are not giving anything up for free to Seneca.
Yeah, Mojo, Top Triple trying to do something for their team, but really can't position themselves as best as they would want. Eventually, we do see some shots coming out here too. But again, not really too much that they can do. Bob just holding things down for their team. MVP performance, I'd say, for their squad so far. The rest of their team more focusing on the objective, and I think that is a good option, especially so Bob can focus on the slaying. Just get in the minds of Seneca Polytechnic, where they just don't know where he's going to come from at any moment with these flanks, just taking down these players left and right, eventually getting knifed for it. But hey, they had a long enough streak anyway.
Yeah, a little bit of a laugh there, I'm sure, from Mojo. Ready now, 3 in a row. Oh, ready, shuts them down at A. And now you're back into the spawn trap, 24 seconds. No progress in this round. No opportunity to touch a zone.
Man.
And you can see with 2 members inside of your spawn, you're going to be spawning towards that helicopter side of the map. So over towards A we go, but Faded Crown shooting you in the back, Bob. Shooting you from the front. Nowhere to go for Seneca. 8 seconds, and this is looking a little bit grim. Faded Crown looking for the knife in the back. Hellstorm from Bob, and they're having fun with it. Things taken down. Bob having a generational game here on Protocol, and RIT, they came to play on day 1 of CCL, a 3-0 sweep, and it wasn't close.
A statement made is an understatement of what they, and specifically Bob, were able to do on control.
Super good game.
Not really able to do anything we saw here. Faded Crown, of course, locking things down with that spawn camp as well, and that's why they love Protocol. They love the spawn camps. They know exactly where they need to position themselves, and I feel like any team that might face this team, I want to ban Protocol control in the future.
Well, I mean, you just look at that fundamentally. RIT were getting away with everything. Manny was uncontested on his routes. You had Reddy pushing over towards helicopters, spawning those the Seneca attackers all the way deep in towards their turret. And Bob was uncontested for their attack for the entirety over towards top triples. So you got to recognize those things if you're Seneca and really communicate what you need to do. And immediately, if it's going to be a B attack, you have to have somebody sent through sidewalk into the back spawn of those attackers, relinquish that position towards top triple, but nobody was doing that. Bob was getting away with it for free, and every single time you were trying to hit that flank, if you were Seneca, you were trying to fully flank and shoot those players on to be in your back, and Bob was just able to trade you out and allow for the player inside P4 to slide right back into that zone. So fundamentally, it was perfect for RIT. Seneca, I mean, I want to give them some leeway because they weren't playing with their full main team in this matchup. So, you know, you have 2 of your substitute players in your 6-player roster playing here for your debut, and it's definitely not what you wanted to have happen with this 3-0 sweep being so convincing for RIT Esports. But there is a lot of seasons still to play, and I'm excited for the Seneca team to grow.
8 weeks of competition, 5 weeks until the division restructuring, so plenty of time for them to turn things around. Again, you play everyone in your division at least once, so you have a chance to get a winning record and be in that top cut for that divisional restructuring. And that's going to be something that Seneca Polytechnic will be looking towards for a bit of a resurgence themselves. But this is something that they can learn from. They looked confident on Hacienda when they were bouncing back after those first 2 points on Search and Destroy. Protocol just did not seem to be their game mode, unfortunately, against RIT. And then Skyline, well, they looked decent towards the end of it, but that might have also been because the other team was just kind of positioning themselves towards that final P1 to capture and end things off on that win and the right foot for RIT. And if RIT look this good, well, they're going to continue their climb to the top like we saw in previous seasons from the squad. So expecting big things from them for this division.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for RIT Esports as they are on their way to their goal for the season, make it to playoff and make a run that they will remember. We're going to head to a quick break while we get things set up for our second match. Vaudeville and I are going to be taking a step back. We'll be back for the third match of the night, but coming up next, we got Farmingdale State Esports versus the Carleton Ravens returning to CCL once more in the Northeast Atlantic. So we'll see you after the break with more College COD.